baseball. Told straight. You're listening to NorCal Sports Network. No homers, no casuals. Just truth. Let's go!
All right, everybody, welcome on in. NorCal Sports Network from Sunday afternoon. Everybody in California now on the same time as here in Arizona. As you guys spring forward, we here in Arizona, we just stay the same time year round, but it is 3:37 in the afternoon here in Arizona. And for those watching in the Bay, Giants coming back here today, pounding the ball, the long ball today, as the Giants lead it 9-5 over the Cubs as we enter into the top half of the ninth inning. And we'll just do a little baseball talk today here with talking, little live action, but then we'll get into the post game and we'll just kind of wrap and just together and talk about the Giants roster as it looks like shaping up. Gerard Encarnacion making a late spring attempt to save his career with the San Francisco Giants, as he's been hitting the ball hard the last couple days. Yesterday with 3 hits. Today, let me see if I can pull up the actual box score here. And let's see. We'll get over here to the Giants side. There's a base hit here leading off the ninth inning. Was that Rodriguez? I'm not sure. 78. I wasn't paying attention. Let me look at the box score here. I think that was Rodriguez. We'll see if who's coming up here. I'm not sure right now exactly because the box score is going nuts. It was Jesus Rodriguez. Okay, he looks good. I like this kid. He stole the bag too. Reminds me of the Marlins catcher that I had last year in fantasy baseball, who also came from the Yankees organization, a guy that can hit the ball hard and play different positions. Hey, if you guys don't have, Baseball America, I'm telling you, this is the 2026 Almanac. This thing is sweet. It's got everything in here you want to know. This is basically baseball's Bible here, and it's got everything from college baseball to the DSL, what's happening over in the Dominican League, and then the Arizona Complex League. There's a ground ball to third, to second for one, on to first, safe. Barracoto stays out of the double play. So 1 out in the ninth, Giants lead at 9-5. But, I just love this thing. It's got every level of every player. So, we could look up the Giants here and, anything you want to know, it's right here. So, I just think this is, it's crazy, all the levels they've got, but the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, that's the AAA team of the Miami Marlins. And I was drawing a blank for a name, and that's why I wanted to look it up here. Let me see what was going on here. Why did I carried him in both my fantasy leagues, and I can't remember. Agustin Ramirez. It just clicked on me. Yeah. Are we about to get a career year? Says Propa from Luis Arraez. Hey, he's doing well. He hit a couple homers in the World Baseball Classic for Venezuela. I think he's primed to have a big year, Propa, just because it's another free agent year. And he's been declining a little bit the last year or two with his batting average. Last year he hit under 300, I think 292, I believe. So he's going to want to get that big payday. He didn't get the big payday this year. He got a 1-year deal from the Giants. Other teams were not looking at him. And so he's going to probably, I would imagine, he wants to get reestablished as an everyday player at second base in the field, not just a DH or / first baseman. But yeah, Arraez hit 292 last year. And if you look at that over, let's say, if we start with the 20, let me pull up Luis Arraez batting averages here. In 21, he hit 294. In 22, he hit 316, but 23 was his huge year, 354. That was a year he was flirting with 400 for the first, half of the season or so. But 354 in 23, in 2024, 314, and then 320 in 2025, 292. So career 317 hitter, Luis Arraez. Career on-base percentage of 363. Last year, his on-base percentage was 327 in 25, and in 24, it was 346. He needs to get that on-base percentage back up near his, 363 is his career average, at least 350 for the Giants this year. Hey, Anthony, how are you? How you doing? Yeah, it was an okay year last year. It wasn't great. And I think that's what hurt him. And I think that's why he chose to play with the Giants, because if he could show he can be a valuable second baseman, a good fielding second baseman, at least average and not below average, where his he's a negative in the field. If he could become average or slightly plus, that helps his value beyond, because then teams going to say, okay, we can play you at second base. That gives those other teams, hey, maybe a chance to someone could DH instead of just, because you want your DH to have some power, right? You don't want your DH to just be a slap singles one-dimensional player. And so I think him being able to come to the Giants and play some second base, and if he can prove himself, that's going to make him worth more, financially to a team. And, that's what it's all about. So let's see. Producer Ryan, is he in here today? Is the producer in? The producer is in. Where is he? I don't see his comments. Did I miss a comment from the producer? Gravy says Fitzgerald needs to be released. Well, not according to Glenn over at Giant Sports Talk Live, who says he's having a great season or a great spring training. I don't know what Glenn's watching. Tyler Fitzgerald is 9 strikeouts in 23 at bats this spring, and he's hitting 130. Glenn maybe have him confused with somebody else. I'm not sure, because I heard him say Friday night, I was going back listening. He says, who's having a great spring is Tyler Fitzgerald. He said, I said it on Wednesday night. It was like he doubled down. How do you say Tyler Fitzgerald is having a great spring, hitting 130 with 9 strikeouts? I mean, he looks very lost. And I like Tyler Fitzgerald. I think he's a great young kid. I mean, I like him personally. I root for him. Kid just got married. When do we believe, Glenn? Yeah, that's I don't know, Anthony. I don't get it. But yeah, he does look lost at the plate. I mean, he looked foolish today. He even challenged a pitch, and I'm trying to remember when he challenged it, if he was correct on the challenge. He might have been. I think it was a ball, and it was called a ball. The umpire called it a ball, and the catcher for the Cubs, I believe, challenged and missed it. I'm trying to remember if that's what happened. No, insane. He's been awful all year long. He has not hit at all this spring. You got to pay attention what's going on. If you're going to report stuff, you got to know what you're talking about, because he hasn't had a good spring whatsoever. He was not at one point at all this spring having a good spring. He just has been bad all spring. Looked lost at the plate. I commented on it a week ago. He is not had a good spring. He hasn't even, I don't even think he's been over 200. Maybe he got over 200 early in the spring, but he's just been struggling, and he just is not hitting the ball whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, hey, I get it. A lot of people don't watch it as closely because, you're not getting it on TV, if you don't have time to listen to it. I just happen to be down here, right? So I've been able to go out to several of the games already, and then I've been watching and listening. And so it's you guys, let's see, the Cubs got one man on, nobody out here in the bottom of the ninth, and pitching is Vanderhey. I do not know Vanderhey. You know what? Let's look up Vanderhey right here. Maybe he is in the he's definitely in the minors, because he's not an invitee to camp. So let's see if we can find Vanderhey in the and give you a little bit of information on him. Pitching, he was not at Double-A. So let's see if he was in Low A with the he might have been with another organization last year and just signed with the Giants. I'm looking ACL Giants. No, I don't even see him in there. Vanderhey. This is more by team. So where was he born, this Vanderhey? Mike says, I don't know. Matos has been hit a couple times this weekend. Yeah, he got hit on the head the other day. That was scary, wasn't it? That was really scary. Got hit on the head, but fortunately, the way he got hit, the helmet came off versus hitting him straight impact where the ball, just drops down, or, it hit him and it knocked off the helmet, which was good, because that meant it wasn't a square, hit right on the noggin. The WBC on it, 10 minutes. Let's go. WBC tomorrow. Giants. U.S. Oh, here's a ground ball to short. Could be two to second for one. Back to first. Oh, double play as the second baseman threw it a short hop in the dirt to end the ball game. Furman threw like a one hopper, and Barracoto scooped it up at first base. That's the ball game. 9-5. Giants win it. I think they're like 13-2 in the Cactus League. They just keep winning games. Today they looked like they were going to be beaten by the Cubs. Hey, but this is a scrappy group. It doesn't mean anything, right? These games mean zippo. But when you're new coaching staff, young players, you're trying to change the vibe, so to speak, in the around the clubhouse and the organization. I would say 13-2 is a lot better than 2-13. But the games mean nothing. But hopefully, it can carry the Giants to a good start, as they're going to have a brutal start to the schedule in April. March, April is a brutal schedule. Let's just take a peek at that Giants schedule, shall we? And we'll go over it as we look at this schedule. They start off with 3 with the Yankees, and then they've got 3 in San Diego, and then come home for a 7-game homestand, 4 against the Mets, 3 against the Phillies. All of the first 4 teams, you would say they're playing their first 13 games, 3, 6, 9, 10, 13. Their first 13, actually, their first 15 games, they go play Baltimore after that. You would say those first 15 games, all of the first 5 teams they play, the first 5 series, are expected to be in the playoffs or competing for a playoff spot this year. Let me get to that, Chardal. I am sorry. I did see that and I got distracted. Let me pull that back up. There we go. Chardal, thank you. 17 months as a member. Appreciate you being a member here, Chardal. He says, hi, Dan. I'm a big fan of the YouTube channel, and you're making some great content and videos on the platform and going to be at the 26th. All right. I know you're going to the Fan Fest. Awesome. That's Saturday, I believe, right? The 14th, a week from yesterday. That's cool. Awesome, Chardal. The old Fan Fest. Love it. Love it. I have actually never gone to one of the Giants Fan Fest. It's this one probably won't have any players, I would not think, being that Giants are in middle of spring training. But so Giants just have 2 weeks left here. They leave 2 weeks from yesterday. They'll play their final Cactus League game against the Cleveland Guardians in Scottsdale 2 weeks from yesterday on a Saturday. And then they'll head up and play Sacramento in Sacramento, as they do each year. They play the AAA team. And then Monterrey, Mexico will be in for 2 night games, Monday and Tuesday, on the 23rd and 24th. And then it's the season opener against the Yankees, 5:05 p.m. first game. Shadows will be pretty heavy shadows, right? And so that's going to be maybe tough to see the ball at that time of night with the shadows. So it should be I don't know. Tough. Should be tough. Logan Webb, I'm imagining, against Max Fried is what I'm assuming. We know it'll be Webb, and I'm assuming it'll be Max Fried. Could be Carlos Rodon, but more likely Max Fried. So the question will be, will Bryce Eldridge be in the starting lineup? Will he make the club? And that's something we need to discuss, because the roster is shaping up. Encarnacion today, he was hitting in the definitely well below the Mendoza line prior to yesterday. And Encarnacion today went 2 for 4. He's up to 300. Now Matos is hitting 375. Let me give you a place where, and Grant McCray, an opposite field home run today, which you got to love. McCray's hitting 278, but he's a lefty. Now here's what I think the Giants should do, guys. I think the Giants, it's possible that Matos and Encarnacion both make the club, and they go with one utility infielder, and that's Casey Schmidt. You got to think about this. Think about this, guys. Willie Adames and Matt Chapman practically play every day, okay? Luis Arraez is going to play every day. Okay. So you got your second, short, and third baseman that are practically going to play every day. When Arraez is not in the field, you're assuming that Casey Schmidt is going to be the guy that takes that spot. Now, let's look at this. What would you carry Christian Koss? If you have Christian Koss on the lineup and you have, let's say, Matos, if Eldridge makes it, you have room probably for, if you carry two infielders, or you're going to carry two extra outfielders. All right. I would probably carry a lefty on my bench, and that would be Grant McCray. Okay. Gives you speed, gives you outfield defense, gives you, if Ramos needs to come out of the game late and you want to replace him for defense. See, if you go, I don't think Drew Gilbert's going to make the opening day roster because he's been injured. He can't throw a baseball right now. Insane says Grant McCray, no thank you. Well, if you base it on the past, Insane, he's had a rough go of it making contact, but kid's young and he's made a lot of adjustments. He's very athletic and he's hitting the ball in spring. Let me tell you what Grant McCray's numbers look like this spring. I'm going to pull his numbers up. Grant McCray has had 18 at-bats. He scored 8 runs. It's pretty darn good. 5 hits, 8 total bases, triple, a home run, 4 RBIs, 6 base on balls, has only struck out 3 times. Okay? 3 times in 18 at-bats. That doesn't even count the plate appearances. So if you add his walks, he's had 6. So he's had 22 plate appearances. That is, hold on here. Come on. 3 divided by 22. He's striking out 13.6% of the time. So he's a young player. And if he's showing he's making improvement, that's a good part of the game. So I wouldn't be opposed at all to just going with, you're either going to go with one extra outfielder or 2, and you're either going to go with one extra infielder or 2, because you got to have a backup catcher, and that's probably Daniel Susac. Now, Jesus Rodriguez is making a push to be that backup catcher, and he's got some versatility because he could play second base. So that gives you some additional things that you can do. That versatility is helpful. But if I'm making this roster out, I am going to go with Daniel Susac because I don't want to lose a guy on a Rule 5, and I think Susac is having a pretty good spring. Susac, let me pull up. Hold on here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull it up on my hold on here. Let me see if I can pull this up on my screen here, and that way I don't have to keep looking at my phone. All right, so Susac, let me see if I can pull up today's box score. What do we got here? Spring training. What are we looking at? Hold on. Okay, here we go. See if I can pull up the box. Susac today was 1 for 3, But this isn't giving me the numbers I want to look at, so I got to go to my phone. Susac right now is hitting 350. 350 on the spring, and he's had 20 at bats, 9 total bases. He got robbed of a home run last week when he hit it over the wall, but it bounced off the brick right behind in right field in Scottsdale, and the umpires called it a double, but it was a home run. He's hitting 350, on base 381, slugging 450, 831 OPS. So if I'm doing this roster, I'm going with Bailey and Susac. Now we know Devers, Arraez, Adames, Chapman around the infield, and then I'm going with Bryce Eldridge as my DH. And then my outfield is Ramos, Bader, and Lee. So my backups would be Casey Schmidt, and you only have room for, hold on, I got my roster right here. Okay. Something got stuck here. Let's see. All right. So my roster, just looking at it right here, guys. Bailey, Devers, Arraez, Adames, Chapman. Your infield, my DH is Eldridge. Outfield, Ramos, Bader, Lee. That leaves you with 4 players on the bench after your DH. Because if you're going with 13 pitchers, so Casey Schmidt's a lock. The backup catcher, that's a lock. I'm assuming it's going to be Susac, but whoever the catcher, so that leaves 2 positions. You can go with Koss, or you can go with someone like Matos and McRae. I'm not getting rid of Luis Matos unless I'm trading him for an asset that's going to help the club right now, that brings a pretty good relief pitcher back, because that's the area of weakness. So someone that would be on the roster. I would rather carry Matos than Encarnacion. Now, Encarnacion showed some pretty good things the last couple days. Hit well yesterday, drove in a couple runs with 2 out hits. And then he made a nice diving catch, although it looked a little awkward out in left field today. Anthony says, did I hear Terry's ridiculous? No, I did not hear it. Does Koss have options? I believe he does, Mike. I believe he does. But yeah, I'm anxious to hear what the take was on KMBR there with Marty. But hey, let me take this out now. I don't need this. I'm not listening to the game anymore. Actually, I don't even need this. I'm not talking to anybody. Oh, he said to trade Casey Schmidt. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is Casey Schmidt is very, very valuable to the San Francisco Giants. Nothing like having your season completely go off the rails if something happened to Matt Chapman or Luis Arraez, right? Or even a Willie Adames. You need Casey Schmidt. He could play all 3 of those positions, third base being his natural and best position. Second base, he could step in and play really well. Shortstop's probably his weakest of the 3, but he could fill in there. You got to have a guy like that. Trade Casey to Pittsburgh. There's no way. I mean, you want to have you got to have somebody on the bench that could step in. Casey Schmidt's a Major League Baseball player, guys. He's definitely a Major League Baseball player. Remember, Chapman got hurt last year too. I mean, you never know when a guy goes down. You don't want to have Christian Koss be the guy that steps in and plays every day. Koss is a good player. He's a scrappy player. He's a feisty little guy that plays hard, but he's not an everyday player. He's just not. He can step in and you might not feel too much of a loss if it's for, 10 games. But if you got to go 30 games with him, I'm sorry. And then you got to bring up Fitzgerald. And again, nothing against Tyler Fitzgerald. I mean, I like the young man, quality character guy, but unfortunately, he's just not producing and he's not hitting the ball. And he took a called strike 3 today. There was a fastball because he was probably expecting the off-speed breaking pitch because that's his weakness. And so he wasn't ready for the fastball. When you can't hit the one pitch, you're going to get played with, and they're just going to exploit your weakness. And then you're going to be looking, I'm going to protect that weakness. And then boom, 94 right past you. It's going to look like 104 because you were waiting for something off speed. Tyler, he had that great couple of weeks 2 years ago where he looked like Barry Bonds, but, he's just not been able to put it all together. Mike says the same thing as I'm saying it. Fitzgerald has never bounced back from whatever happened to his head after his Barry Bonds week. Yeah. And that was 2 years ago. Exactly. Eldridge got looking on a curveball. I'm liking Bryce's at bats. He's taking guys deep into the count. He's not getting fooled up there. And you know what? I'm okay with Bryce striking out 30% of the time. Aaron Judge in limited appearance struck out in 95 plate appearances in not his full rookie season, but his 2016 season when he got called up. He struck out 44% of the time. And then his first full major league year, he struck out over 30% of the time, but he hit like 50 home runs and won Rookie of the Year. And Bryce is 4 years younger than Judge when Judge made his first major league appearance in 2016. So Bryce makes it at 20. Judge appears at 24. I'm not at all. I think, hey, the big leaguers are looking for Bryce to play. They know his pedigree. Bryce is going to learn through some failure, just as Aaron Judge did and a lot of great hitters did. He will have failure at the big league level. And at times it's going to look like, he's just striking out too much. But this kid is given the opportunity. I think if he stays up the full season, he hits 20-plus home runs for the Giants. I really do. I think I saw some people think he's in that neighborhood of 12 to 15. I think he can hit 20 if he gets the opportunity to play quite a bit. We'll see. But Insane says, they wanted more of a bat. They didn't sign. They wanted another bat in the lineup. If you look at, I don't know why they were going for C.J. Abrams. That didn't make sense to me. C.J. Abrams doesn't even want to play second base. Donovan and Nico Horner, I get it. They're guys that make contact. And Nico Horner's probably all around the best second baseman behind Ketel Marte in the National League. But the thing is, what the Giants were looking for was somebody to make contact. So, but they like Casey a lot. Don't let that fool you that they were going out looking for. They like Casey. They like him being as versatile as he is, that he can play all four infield positions. Casey hit a ball today 109 miles an hour right at the third baseman. Casey hits the ball hard. He's one of the 3 or 4 guys on the Giants that really smoke the ball. I mean, we know that Bryce can smoke it, right? Devers can smoke it. Chapman has pretty good exit velocity when he hits the barrel. Casey's one of those guys. We know that guys like Lee and Arraez, they don't smoke the ball, right? Bailey doesn't smoke the ball. Ramos can hit it hard. Lee and Bader's a little bit, but the guys that really don't hit, Lee and definitely Arraez. So Adames, not bad, but we'll see. Oh, Matthew. Anxious to see Bryce Eldridge bat against Bryce Elder when the Giants play the Braves. Those names are just too similar to not pay attention to. Bryce Elder versus Bryce Eldridge. That'd be a hoot. Yeah. Hey guys, I think Matt Chapman's going to have a better year than a lot of people think. I think if they like Casey a lot, just like I said, they like him a lot, but they want this lineup needed some more contact. Insane. Look, they had Jung-Hoo Lee striking out about 10% of the time. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the Giants lineup prior to Luis Arraez. You can't go out there and have a team that strikes out this much. Okay. Jung-Hoo Lee, career 10.8. Gilbert, not much, 18, but just very limited. Matos, somewhat limited, 14. But look at Casey Schmidt, 23.4. Devers, 22. Ramos, 24.5. Chapman, 26.5. Bailey, 26.5. Adames, 27. And Bryce Eldridge, 27%. You cannot have a lineup where your entire team is striking out 25% of the time. That's why they were looking at Horner. That's why they were looking at Donovan. And that's why they signed Arraez. You got to have a lineup that has somebody that makes contact. Because the Giants, with 8 guys in the lineup, striking out that much, it just leads to a lot of zeros and not putting up crooked numbers. Let me just look at Harrison Bader and see what he looks like. Hold on here. Why is my search button not working here? Okay. So Harrison Bader, for example, I don't know what his numbers are when it comes to K rates. Last year, his best offensive year, Harrison Bader had 501 plate appearances and struck out 136 times. So 136 divided by 501, 27%. There's another strikeout guy, okay? Harrison Bader for his career has struck out 743 times, and he's had 3,046 plate appearances, so 24.3. So last year he was a little higher. You can't have your entire lineup insane strike out. That's a recipe for disaster. Not really insane. I think they're high on him. It doesn't mean he has to be part of the daily 9. They just you think you build a team with 9 guys and that's it? You got to have depth. He will be playing a lot, insane. He's going to be playing. He might even DH at certain times against certain lefties. If Bryce Eldridge is not on the club, Casey could be playing a lot of first base. Just because, I mean, that's like saying the Warriors don't like Andre Iguodala because he's not starting in the starting five. Insane. Come on. I hate to say this, but that's an insane take. There's 9 positions, and if you can make your team better by getting a Luis Arraez, why wouldn't you do that? I've always said you're better off having a problem with too many guys than not enough guys. So there's a reason the NBA has a 6th Man of the Year award, because that guy's valuable to the team. Andre Iguodala, for example, didn't start for the Warriors, but he was in the closing lineup, with Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, KD, and Andre Iguodala, but he didn't start. Well, that would have been a stupid trade if that went through, giving up Joshar Gonzalez for CJ Abrams. Giants are fortunate that trade didn't go through. That's pretty funny. What's more dangerous, having a strikeout-prone lineup or the city of Oakland? Oh, yeah. Insane. This is a better club this year. Look at the infield. Chapman, Adames, Arraez, Devers. All 4 of those guys have made all-star teams. I think Adames has made an all-star team. Maybe he hasn't. I'd have to look. But, where are you going to play him? You're going to put him in center field? He's an infielder. They improved the team with Arraez. They needed a bat. But just because he's not starting doesn't mean they don't like him. If they didn't like him, they would have moved off of him. Okay? What's Alex Martinez says, what is Koss's K rate? Let me look it up for you guys. I'll tell you right here. Christian Koss doesn't have a huge pedigree as far as history in the game. He's only had last year was his first year in the big leagues. Never had a big league at bat until last year. So last year he struck out 45 times. Let me just pull this up 1 second. I'm getting these ads that keep popping up on Baseball Reference. I wish there was a way to get rid of it. 25. Come on. Standard batting. Okay, 45 times in 191 plate appearances. 23.5% there for Christian Koss, Alex. 23.5% last year. So, and if I took a look at his minor league stats, I can give you what he did over his entire minor league career. Let me pull that up. It'll take me a sec to get to that. Okay, Christian Koss, been in the minors since 2016 as an 18-year-old. No, I take that back. That was some college baseball. Okay. But his entire minor leagues, 6 seasons, he struck out 410 times in 6 minor league seasons, 410, and he had 1,887 plate appearances. So 21.7. So Koss is a guy that's going to strike out over 20%, closer to 22, 23%. Giants won today, Jim, 9-5. Insane says Koss should make the team. Maybe. What are you going to do when you need a left-handed bat, though, Insane, on the bench and you don't have one? You're going to send up, you got nobody to pinch hit for, and you need a left-handed bat. I mean, that's why the Giants have Gilbert. That's why they have Will Brennan, and that's why they have Grant McCray. I would carry one of those guys, and I don't think Gilbert's going to be ready. So, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Insane. I'm just telling you, just because you don't start doesn't mean you're not valuable to a team. That's what I was trying to say. I took my example as an extreme because you made it sound like they didn't want him to start. How about improving your team by getting a top hitter, a 3-time batting champion, and then that makes your bench deeper. So Jim says he thinks Brennan makes his team. Brennan could. He's a contact hitter, and he can. We saw what he did in center field today. Beautiful catch, running catch, sliding into the wall. That was, and that's, believe me, that's a tough ball to catch off of the bat because the ball's tailing away from you, and you got that Arizona sun, which is a whole lot different than the sunshine at Oracle Park. Insane. I don't know if he makes the team. Doesn't mean he won't be up, but I don't know if he's ready for the opening day roster. He can't throw right now. And I would think if he makes the team right now, that could, who knows, that could backfire in the clubhouse. So they could say, hey, guy didn't even play. And they could say, oh, yeah, it's Tony's pet, right? If Gilbert makes the team, he comes back in this coming week, and, he has a great final 10 games of the camp, and he earns it. He's not going to be given a job just because he's played at Tennessee. Yeah, I don't see him just being put on the team because he played at Tennessee. Look, Blade Tidwell didn't look too sharp today, did he? A couple outings in a row, and Keaton Wynn looked really good. Pitching. Hold on, let me pull up the box score again today. Tidwell, 1 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 2 base on balls, 4 strikeouts. Keaton Wynn, 2 innings pitched, 2 strikeouts, zeros across the board, hits, runs, and base on balls, zeros for Keaton Wynn. Tidwell not looking all that great. His Blade Tidwell on the spring is, give you his numbers here. Let me see here. Tidwell, what do we got? He's pitched in 3 games, 4.2 innings pitched, given up 7 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned. His whip is super high, 2.36. That's not good at all. He's got an ERA of 11.57. That is not good. Yeah, Trevor McDonald is definitely, I think, going to make this team. I think Trevor McDonald is, at this point, he's showing himself to be the next man up if there's a slot that comes available in the starting rotation. I think Trevor McDonald may be your next guy, and I think he starts in this bullpen. Jim Thurkill says, "What's my opinion on Arraez?" I think you meant Luis Arraez defense so far. Haven't seen anything that's been alarming to be concerned about. But then again, I haven't seen enough of him because with the WBC starting, he's kind of, we don't see him as much. Yeah, I think Trevor McDonald will be in the bullpen. I think that's, if I was putting the roster together today, I would say he's going to make the club. The real question comes down to those last few guys. It's to me, it's an Encarnacion and Matos, Koss, McRae. And then you got the catcher, Susac or Rodriguez or Haas. Haas hit a home run today. So did Rodriguez. But Susak's been looking good, and I don't think they're going to let Susac just walk. He's a Rule 5 guy. He's had a lot of at-bats in AAA. Let me pull up Susac here. Where do they have the A's? Oh, they got him right in the front here in the I was like, everything's like Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, Chicago Cubs, Chicago Whites. It's all in order by alphabetical. So I was wondering where they were going to put the A's. Were they going to put them in the S's for Sacramento? But they put them. So let me pull up here the AAA stats last year for Daniel Susac. Big kid, 6'4", 218, only 20, going to be 25 in May. May 14th, he was born in 2001, so he'll be turning 25. I don't think you want to let a guy like that go. He had 407 plate appearances last year, 99 hits, batted .275. Now, this is in the Pacific Coast League. Had 18 home runs, struck out 109 times in okay, we're not getting plate appearances, so I can't give you here's his strikeout percentage. They've got it listed in here. Susac struck out 26.8% of the time, but has some pop. And, why not get Casey Schmidt some reps in left? That could be a possibility. I think he can do it. If you did that, then you're looking at one less outfielder. The reason I bring up Matos and McRae, guys, is Matos is out of options. He's 24 years old. I don't think the Giants should give up on Luis Matos. He can hit the ball. He makes contact. And I think that would be a really good thing for the Giants to do, is to keep him. Now, why do I say McRae in the outfield over a Koss? Because you need a left-handed bat on the bench. You can't have, if you just go with Schmidt, Koss, Susac, and Matos, or Encarnacion, you're coming up, and you're not pinch hitting for Luis Arraez, right? You're not pinch hitting for Matt Chapman. You're not pinch hitting for Willy Adames. You're not pinch hitting for Rafi Devers. So you're not pinch hitting for your infielders. You might pinch hit for Eldridge, right? If it's a tough lefty. So in that case, you have your righties. But let's say you want to pinch hit for, you're probably not pinch hitting Bailey if he's facing a righty. So if he's a lefty, but What happens if you're facing a tough right-handed guy and I don't know who's in the lineup that they might want to pinch hit for? Maybe a Bader, maybe a Ramos. I don't know. It's insane. I see what you're saying. But maybe, I think Bailey depends on the situation. I think he's a much better left-handed hitter. But you might pinch hit for Arraez. In what situation would you pinch hit for Luis Arraez? Seriously. I don't know. Will Brennan could be a better option than McRae. It all depends. I mean, they've got some guys. There could be a trade coming up, too. There really could be a trade. So, I don't know. Williams share, I don't know a situation where you would actually pinch hit for Luis Arraez. Seriously, I cannot think of one. What would you be pinch hitting for Luis Arraez for? I mean, name a situation. I mean, he strikes out 3% of the time last year. He's going to put the ball in play. If you're looking for a hit, why would you pinch hit for Luis Arraez? Is that? I'm asking you. I don't know if that was a tongue-in-cheek, a facetious comment, or what. But I don't see a world where anybody power and defense. Well, you might pinch hit for him. Not pinch hit for him. You might replace him after he bats in the 8th or 9th inning. If it's a game where he's batting in the bottom of the 8th, you're going to let him bat. Maybe you replace him in the field for the 9th inning, but you don't pinch hit for him. And, power. I mean, I guess you got to think of who's behind Arraez. And if he comes up and you're down 3 runs and you got, you need a 3-run homer and you got runners at second and third, don't you think you'd want Arraez to maybe get that base hit and get you within 2 and then have a base runner on, and then who's ever behind Arraez to move the line? I would never pinch hit for Luis Arraez. Unless maybe I had bases loaded with 2 out and I'm down 4 runs and I got Barry Bonds on the bench that day. Maybe I would replace Arraez and say, okay, we're going to try and tie it up here. But not a world where I see too many people pinch hitting for Arraez. Okay. Wisenhunt needs to develop a third pitch. I think he's working on that. He's got the slider. He's got the fastball that's about 94, 95-ish. And then he's got the slider, and then he's got the changeup. So I think that slider is the third pitch, and he incorporated it a little bit yesterday. You might pinch hit for Bader. That's kind of the guy I would think. You got a tough right-handed pitcher on the mound, and you have, Bader's. Let's be real about this. Harrison Bader has, before last year, was not, tearing the fences down or, tearing the ball off the cover. He's a lifetime hitter of 247. Okay. He batted 277 last year, 247 lifetime. In his batting average for Harrison Bader, if you want to look at it, he had a decent year in 21 where he hit 267. 18, he hit 264, but 2022, 250. 2024, 236. 2017, limited appearances, 235. 2023, 232. So between 23 and 24, he, in approximately 800 plate appearances, he batted about 234, okay, in 23 and 24 with the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, in 23, he was, I think in 24, he was with the Mets. Yeah. So, I don't think that's a guy you definitely would probably pinch hit for in a situation. And that's why, I think why a McRae or a Gilbert or a Brennan makes sense on this roster. I really, really do. And because Matos is out of options, that's why I would move Koss. I wouldn't put Koss on the opening day roster. I would put him in AAA. Not that he doesn't deserve to be on the roster, okay? I think Christian Koss does deserve to be on the roster. But think of this, guys. Where is Koss going to play versus needing a left-handed bat off the bench? Think about this. I mentioned Chapman. If I pull up Matt Chapman, he has missed some games in recent years to injury, but he generally plays 150 plus games a season. Let me pull up Matt Chapman here. Matt Chapman, games-wise, 2019, he played 156. 2022, he played 155. 2024, 154. 2021, 151. 2018, 145. 23, 140. Last year, 128. So 2 of the last 3 years, he's played in 140 games or less. But generally, he plays around 154, 155 games a year. Okay. So Chapman's a guy that's going to be in the lineup. All right. Now let's look at Willy Adames and see how many games Willy Adames plays on average. And I'm just pulling that up here. Okay, Willy Adames played 161 games in 2024, 160 last year. In 23, he played 149. So the last 3 years, Willy Adames 149, 161, and 160. Okay. And in 2022, 139. So Willy Adames is going to play 155 games on average. Now let's take a look at Luis Arraez and see how many games he plays. Hold on here. It might help if I spell Arraez correct. A-R-R. Let's see, did I get it correct? I always mess the spelling up of Arraez. Hold on, I got to look it up now. Now I got to look it up because if I don't spell it right, it doesn't come up in A-R-R-A-E-Z. I missed a letter. A-E-Z. Okay, there we go. Luis Arraez has played in 2025. He played 154 games. 2024, he played 150. 2023, 147. So you're not putting a guy where Bader doesn't play a ton like some of these other guys, right? In the outfield. So you need an extra outfielder, and outfielders generally tend to get hurt a little bit more just because of, they're running into the wall or something like that. I mean, if we look at Harrison Bader's game logs, he played 146 last year, 143 in 24. In 23, only played 98 games, 86 in 22. So Bader's definitely not playing as much. And a lot of those games he's getting into were not as a starter. So he didn't start all these games. So I think you carry the extra outfielder to get a lefty on the team. And again, because of Matos. Now, if they've got a trade, if they made a trade for, say, Matos, and got a bullpen guy or something that helped them, then yeah, I get why you would maybe you could carry costs and just carry one extra outfielder, but I do like the idea of having a couple of outfielders. And again, nothing against Christian Koss. I think he's a really good, scrappy player. But it's I want a left-handed batter on the bench somewhere, whether that's McRae or Brennan or Gilbert. I think there's going to have to be a left-handed guy on the bench at some point. If Arraez wins the batting champion, do the Giants keep him? It depends on if he wants to stay, right? He may want to test free agency. Depends on, does he win the batting championship, but he doesn't have a productive season? What I mean by that, he hits 300. He hits 305 and wins the batting title, but he only has a 330 on base percentage because he doesn't walk enough, and his singles are just not productive. If you know what I'm saying, if Matt Chapman's hitting 240, but he's got a 340 on base percentage versus Arraez who's hitting 300, but he only has a 330 on base percentage, where's the value? You see what I'm saying? The key is getting on base some way, somehow. They may be going after Nico Horner next year. Absolutely. I could see that. I definitely could see that. So what else we got here, guys? A long nap for Mr. Weird Cat Karen. Okay. Yeah. So guys that are probably, if I look at the roster, Victor Barracoto, guys, he's having a great spring, but he's not making the opening day roster. Okay. If he does make the roster, it's a sign that the Giants have way too many injuries, and that's not a good thing. Okay. So for those who want to see Barracoto out there, he's not making the team. For those, I'm just going to go down the roster here and take a look at guys. Brennan and McRae, they're a toss-up. Jesus Rodriguez, now he's good enough probably to make the team, gives you some flexibility, but they got Daniel Susac, and I think Susac's ahead of him just because the Rule 5. He's a more experienced catcher. He's a better defensive catcher. So I think Susak's a lock to make this team personally. Eldridge, that's tough. He's hitting 240 right now, but he struck out twice today. Matos is a question mark again. He's hitting 375. I would keep him on this roster. Bo Davidson, he's probably going to start the year in Richmond. Could start it in Sacramento, but most likely spends a month or two in Richmond and then moves back up to Sacramento. Susak, I have making the team. Haas, I don't think he makes the team. I don't know if he decides to go down to Sacramento or request to be a free agent. Casey Schmidt, to me, is a lock. Buddy Kennedy, nice little story, but he's not making this team, okay? Encarnacion, that's a big, huge question mark, right? Does he make the team or not? If it were me, I would say no. I think the Giants like him. He does hit the ball hard. But, I think the Giants probably trying to work out a trade with either Encarnacion or Matos, seeing what they can get. And if they can't get much, they're calling and talking. I mean, Zach Maniason is on the phone working, trying to find out what they could get for Matos or an Encarnacion. And then, what that does, guys, also, when you find that nobody's interested in possibly in one player and there's more interest, let's say they're getting offers for Matos that are decent, but let's say for Encarnacion, they're not getting any offers. It could be the other way around as well, but I'm just giving you an example. That gives you sometimes an idea as a front office. Look, nobody's interested in this guy, so let's go ahead and put him on waivers. We'll probably get him back and put him back in on the become a non-roster player. It's just the same way that they took a gamble this year on Will Bednar. They did not protect him for the Rule 5 draft. I thought he might get taken by some teams that are not that competitive, that could afford to carry him, like the A's or somebody like that, or the Cardinals, or could look the White Sox, the Angels, Washington, Colorado. All those teams surprisingly did not pick up a Will Bednar who could become their closer. But if you're a crappy team like that, you can afford to carry Will Bednar all year long as a Rule 5 player, but nobody picked him up. So maybe the Giants had vibes that teams weren't interested. Maybe they had talked about trading him in the past. And, a lot of times guys will talk trade about a certain type of player, and they don't get any feedback. They don't get much on him. And so they know, nobody's really interested. Yeah, Bednar's pitched. He's actually done pretty decently, Mark. He's I'd have to go back and see. I think he may have pitched yesterday. Let me look. I'm going through see if he pitched against Arizona. No, he did not pitch against Arizona. And he did not pitch against. Yes, he did. He pitched against the Rangers yesterday. He actually got the win yesterday. He pitched 1 inning, no runs, no walks, no hits, struck out 1, and his ERA on the spring in 3 games is 0. Okay, he's got a WHIP of 1.33, decent. So Bednar has actually looked pretty decent. Let me see what his walks per 9 in 3 appearances 3.0, which is, wait a minute, I take that back. It's 9, which is an issue. He's had 3 innings pitched. Bednar, is it 3 innings? I'm trying to read this whole thing here. Hold on one sec. He's walked. One sec. Where are we getting? 3 walks, 3 innings. Yeah, so his base, that's his kryptonite is his command. Hey, thanks, Tammy. Appreciate the compliment. Yeah, I like the hat. I actually kind of like it. So yeah, Bednar hasn't given up a run, 3 innings, but he's walked 3, and he's also struck out 3, I believe. Where's my strikeouts for Bednar? Come on. Runs. 2 strikeouts. Yeah. 2 strikeouts, 3 walks. So thrown 57 pitches this spring. 0 ERA. I'm telling you, this guy, if he gets command, he's going to become the closer at some point. If he sticks with the Giants for the next few years, he could become a closer for the Giants. But too many walks. That's right. That has been the problem. That has been the problem. Let me see. We got, I think, I take Nico Hoerner over Luis Arraez personally any day. Hoerner steals bases, gets on base, hits for average. Hoerner's a good player. I really like him. Oh yeah, I was going through the roster and then I got stuck on somebody else. I was just telling you who's making the roster and who has a shot, who doesn't. Let's see. I was on Kennedy and Encarnacion. Parks Harbor, good little story. Came over in that trade for Duvall. He's not making the club. Basby, nice little backup for the Giants, but he's not making the club. I'm just going down the box score. Furman, not making the club. And then Tyler Fitzgerald, despite Glenn over at NCSN saying he's having a great spring, not making the club. The guy's hitting 130. 2 more bats today, 2 more strikeouts. That's 9 strikeouts in 23 plate appearances. He's had a rough spring. Again, I like the kid, but he just looks very lost right now at the plate. He's got to figure a way to start making contact to save his big league career, really, right? I mean, Tyler Fitzgerald's got tools. He's got speed. He can play. He's versatile. He could play third. He could play short. He could play second. He can play the outfield. I really liked Tyler Fitzgerald going into the season last year as a super utility guy, but he's just not been able to make solid contact. And Fitzgerald's strikeout rate has been, unfortunately, very, very high. I want to say it's over 30% in the big leagues, and I'll pull it up right now. Give me 1 second while I type his name in here into the okay, Tyler Fitzgerald, he's had appearances in 23, 24, and 25. He's had 618 plate appearances in his big league career. Okay, 618 plate appearances, and he struck out 188 times for a whopping 30.4% K rate. That's fine if you're Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani, right? You say, okay, I can live with the 30% strikeout rate. But, he had 15 home runs in 2024 with 341 plate appearances. Last year, he had 4 homers in 243 plate appearances. Started off the year as a starting second baseman, but then wasn't able to hold on to the job. And Casey Schmidt, came up and started playing well and took over. Let's see, what else do we got? Tammy says, what's going on with Matos? Matos is having a good spring, Tammy. Luis Matos on the spring is batting, I believe it's 375 375. That was 0 for 2, but he has an OPS of 1172. So he was hitting nearly 400 going into the day, or maybe right at 400. So Matos has been driving the ball, hit the ball well, one at bat, if I recall today, went for an out. Casey Schmidt is hitting 333 after going 0 for 2 today. Hit one ball 109 miles an hour, smoked it at the third baseman. Yeah, USA versus Mexico tomorrow. Paul Skeens on the mound, I believe, for USA. Hey, and we're hearing Tariq Skubal may hang in there for one more start, which would be a big start because that's going to be in the quarterfinals or the semis, maybe. When you get into that knockout round after, the WBC championship game is on the 17th of March, which is a week from Tuesday night. So Skubal would he pitched yesterday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So the earliest he would be able to pitch would be somewhere around Thursday. So I'm assuming that the quarterfinals will get going somewhere around Thursday because the Giants U.S. plays Monday and Tuesday to finish up their pool play, and then they will go probably have a off day Wednesday, and then you get into the quarterfinals where there's 8 teams, 2 from each pool. Then you get it knocked down to 4 teams, right? And then so it looks like the U.S. has 2 more games in pool play, Monday, Tuesday. And then you've got quarterfinals. Let's say that's Thursday. And then you get your, after your quarters, you got your semi and then your championship. I think that's how it works. I don't know exactly if we get into any kind of double elimination into that or if it's just how that works. But, the 3 big pitchers for the U.S. is Webb, Skubal, and Skeens. So you hope, I would imagine Logan pitched Friday. He's probably due to pitch the first game of the quarterfinals, which would be Thursday. And then maybe you go Skubal in the semis, and then Paul Skeens would be your pitcher in the championship game. I think that's how it looks if the U.S. can get there. George says, I would not be surprised if Fitzgerald gets DFA'd. Yeah, it's really sad. It's possible that happens. Like I said, I like the kid, and I hope that doesn't happen for him. But if you're not able to hit the breaking ball, and teams know that, and they're just going to throw you, off speed stuff, and you're going to chase it like he did today. He looks lost when he's, and then he took the fastball for a called strike 3 because he was looking for the breaking pitch. thinking I got to foul it off, I got to stay alive, or I got to drive it to right field, go with the pitch, and they slipped the fastball by him. Yeah, that makes it tough. So, home run caught in Arizona in the pool at the Diamondbacks game. I've seen it on TV. Yeah. See. Somebody had a question, but sometimes it's easier just to put a super chat, so that way I see it for sure, because I'm trying to do a show here and I'm looking for questions. I don't see. I got to scroll through all the questions. Cat. I don't. It's hard to run the board and pick up. See. Well, you guys can see what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the same chat you guys are. I just don't, I'm looking up stats. I'm looking up different things. So sometimes if you want to definitely have a important question answered, just throw it in there for 99 cents. And I see it. Let's see. Fitzgerald. Okay, that was the last one. Where do we have that one here? Yeah. Well, guys, I'm going to roll out of here. We've been going almost an hour and a half. I didn't intend to go that long, so let me put on the music and we'll get out of here. And I should have Andrew Susak on this week. I got to reach out to him. He was supposed to be on Thursday night. He had a sick child, so I get it. That's definitely more important. Take care of him, and hopefully he'll be able to join us this week, Tuesday or Thursday. And you never know. We might just pop in and do a show on Monday. Am I coming? Oh, hey, I will definitely get up to Oracle this year. Yeah, I was going to possibly make it for opening day. That's still up in the air. But I'll be up at Oracle for sure. Yeah, I will get up there at Oracle and we'll do a meet and greet. How's that? We'll do something. We'll put that together. Appreciate you asking that. Andrew Susak Andrew's 35 years old. I think he's got a couple of kids. Most guys in their mid 30s, if they've been married for a while, have kids. Somehow that seems to happen. I don't know how that happens, but it does. Yeah. Let's see. I will let you know, Mike. And hey, guys, one last thing. If you want to join fantasy, we got fantasy baseball going. $150 road points league. We dropped it to 150. We do have. We're gaining more on points than the roto. If you're able to afford 150, jump in. We might drop it to 100, 125. I prefer to keep it at 150. We started at 200 just because it makes the pot sweeter for those that, for the prize. It's a long season to play 6 months, and win only $200 or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, play some fantasy baseball. Exactly. Email me, guys. In fact, you know what? I did put a tweet out. I'll show you what we did. Give me 1 second here, guys, and I'll pull that up. Something went wrong. Try again. I don't know what's going on with the old computer today. Maybe it's X. They look like they're down. Oh, there we go. All right. So let's do this. Let me pull this up. Okay. Yeah, they're down. I don't know what's going on. X is not filling in here today. What's going on? All right. It's not populating. Let's hit retry, see what happens. Something went wrong. Try reloading. Well, obviously my internet's working because I'm talking to you guys. So, X, thank you. Yeah. Is it legal in California? It's a contest. It's through Yahoo. It's called a contest. It's not gambling. It's a contest. Fantasy sports. Everybody plays. Lots of people play fantasy sports. So with Yahoo, they call it a contest. Okay? So hop in and play. Email me at NorCal Sports Network at Gmail. And now I'm having trouble with my banners. What's going on? Having trouble loading your banners. Try maybe I don't know what's going on. I was going to put that up there. All right. Well, let me get the music. All right, let me see if I can't get my banners up. I was going to put my email address up there. Something's happening with my StreamYard. Things aren't loading. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? All right. Thanks, Tammy. So email me at NorCal Sports Network at Gmail. NorCal Sports Network at gmail.com. Let me know you want to play some fantasy baseball. And we'll get you all set up. We're going to have a draft in a couple weeks, so we need about 3 more players to fill up the league. Zach Littell went to the Nationals. Okay. That's interesting. Not a bad pitcher. Not an experienced guy to have in the bullpen, but he goes to the Washington Nationals. Would have liked to have had him myself. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Hey, do us a favor. Hit that like button. If you hit that like button, it lets everybody know, more about it. So appreciate you guys being here today. Giants win it again. You missed the far head, Dan, huh? Okay. You mean with the big gut and the pillow in my stomach? Those were funny days, weren't they? Yeah, we had some fun back then. Yeah, that was nuts. No show tonight, guys. No show. No. But appreciate you being here again. Hit the like button on the way out. Really does help the algorithms. Thanks, Mike. Catch you on the flip side, everybody. We'll be back this week. I hope to have Andrew Susak on this week sometime Tuesday or Thursday. And you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. And hopefully everybody put their time ahead an hour. Nobody still thinks it's 4:10 right now in California. It's actually 5:10 for you guys in California. Hopefully nobody's done that. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday. See you in a couple days.